Some of you may know that I am a fan of the NFL, and specifically the Minnesota Vikings. And if you hear NFL coaches talk, they will consistently talk about one thing. And here is the Minnesota Vikings head coach, Kevin O'Connell, to talk about that thing.
It was a chance for points, but we weren't able to overcome kind of the fact that they win the turnover battle 2-0. We did that 2 weeks ago, and I told our team that is rare and not a formula, you know, to win games consistently.
Now don't worry, you don't need to know anything about American football for this video. Just know that winning the turnover battle, the crucial words that he said there, are very important to winning a game of American football. And in fact, it's so important that if you simply win the turnover battle, that means that you will probably win the game about 78% of the time. So basically, if you win that crucial statistic, you've got a very good chance of winning. And today we're going to take a look at the Valorant equivalent of that, which is pistol rounds. Now I know I'm not breaking any major news here to tell you that pistol rounds are important in Valorant, but how important are they? Do you know the answer to that? Well, I took a look at the data from all of the Tier 1 games in 2025 and found that if you win both pistols, your chance of winning the map was 74%. Now, of course, winning any round in Valorant is going to give you a better chance of winning the game, but if you consider that if one team wins one pistol and the other team wins the others, they both have a 50% chance because one of them won a pistol and, you know, won the game, and one of them won one pistol and lost the game. So that's 50%. So just by winning that second pistol round, it's 24% difference. Right? That is a pretty significant amount. Probably a lot more than, you know, just winning a round in general is. 24% is a lot, right? And of course, this number is so high when you win both pistols because when you win a pistol, you then often will get a second round, not for free, but a lot of the time, a very easy second round, right? And what I also found was if you win both pistols and both second rounds, you have a 79% chance of winning the map, right? So almost 4 out of 5 times. That is very, very high, right? That is a very, very strong indicator for who is going to win a map. But as I was talking to Sideshow about these numbers, he brought up a good point, which is, don't better teams in general just win more pistols as well? So therefore, isn't it just that, you know, better teams win more pistols, win more maps, because they're better teams? So we got the data for that also. Let's take a look at it right now, because here is the table for all of the pistol win rates of all the VCT teams in Tier 1 and all the non-pistol win rates as well, right? So as you can kind of just see from the graph, there is kind of a correlation here, right? You can see that, you know, the bad teams down here tend to do worse at both, and then you can see that it kind of trends up here, right? But it's certainly not perfect. It certainly does not follow, you know, a perfect line of, yeah, you know, the best team wins the most pistols or anything like that, right? There is a little bit of randomness in here. It's not a perfect correlation by any means. There's a soft correlation, let's say. Now, to explain the graph to you, the blue dots are the teams that did not make champs. The red dots are the Chinese champ teams. The yellow dots are the EMEA champ teams. The orange dots are the Americas champ teams. And the black dots are the Pacific champ teams. So I know some of you will want to know which dots are which teams. I'll just go through kind of some of the big kind of outliers here. This team here that won the most pistols, but actually was below 50% by quite a bit in terms of non-pistol win rate, was actually EDG. Is this team just here, which again just goes to show, right, like the best pistol round team wasn't necessarily anywhere close to the best team in non-pistol rounds, right? Like actually quite the opposite. They were quite a bit below 50%. You've also got Team Secret, which is this dot, who are apparently amazing at pistols, but, you know, not very good at any other rounds, right? So that's Team Secret down here. This here, like, you know, very good at non-pistols, pretty good at pistols as well. This is G2. This dot here is Paper Rex. This is like Fnatic, Team Liquid. This is NRG, I'm pretty sure. This dot here that didn't make champs, but was obviously very good at non-pistols, slightly below pistol win rate, you know, of 50%. This was Gen G. If you must know, and you probably could have guessed. If you're wondering who this team that made champs that wasn't very good was, this was actually Giants, who did have, you know, a pretty bad stage 1 and kickoff, but, you know, kind of got it together towards the end of stage 2, so that's how they made champs. But you can see that for most, every team apart from Giants who made champs, you either had, you know, an above 50% pistol win rate or an above 50% non-pistol win rate, right? And so you can see here that there is somewhat of a correlation, but certainly not a strong one, right? The pistol rounds can be a little bit random. And that is why I wanted to bring up NFL turnovers as well, because they are very similar to pistol rounds, not in just the fact that they are, very good indicators as who's going to win the game, but also because they also are a little bit random. Not completely random, but a little bit random. And you can see this as well in some of the data, because for instance, if I come to this page here, the football database, these are the teams that were the best at winning the turnover battle in 2023. It was the Baltimore Ravens and the New York Giants. Well, if we take those two teams and look at 2024, you can see that Baltimore drops down to here, so still doing okay, but certainly not at the top, and the Giants, well, they're all the way down here, right? So really not doing too well. If you come to 2025, you'll see that the Giants are all the way down here, and Baltimore is all the way down here, right? So from season to season, it's not like any of these teams, and you can go through all of the different years, and it will be very, very rare to find teams at the very top that stay at the very top. It just doesn't happen because it is a little bit random, but it's not completely random, you see, because you can take certain teams, like for instance, my arch nemesis, the Green Bay Packers. If you come back to 2014, they were at the top of the list, right? You come to 2015, the year after, they were still doing pretty well, still here on +5. You come to 2016, the year after, they're doing well again, right? Here on +8. And the reason for that is, at the time, they had a quarterback called AREN Rodgers, who just didn't throw many interceptions. He didn't give the ball away very often. He was just good at not doing that. And that is how they are similar to pistol rounds as well, because whilst both these things are a little bit random and will change, I'm sure if we got the data for next year, the teams at the very top, like will EDG be the best pistol round team next year? Probably not. But there are things that you can do to be better at them and give yourself at least a better chance overall. One of these things, of course, is just being good with the actual pistols themselves, right? And we have a lot of examples of players who are good in pistol rounds. I'm going to show you some clips now of, for instance, a Jorgamo Frenzy, where he's able to do things with the Frenzy and control the Frenzy better than most other pros that you see use this gun, and he's able to use that to win rounds that otherwise he wouldn't be able to. And there are other examples as well, like Kayak's Sheriff, when he can pop off with that gun and had a very high kill rate in pistol rounds this entire VCT year. Or for instance, Maddo with his Ghost or a Sheriff, also very good on pistol rounds, and won NRG quite a few of their pistol rounds as well. And so whilst pistol rounds, might be a little bit random and feel a little bit random at times as well, that's not quite the case, right? You can be good with these guns, and those are some examples of players who I think we can all accept are good with those guns and therefore are going to give their teams a better chance of winning those pistol rounds. And not only that, but of course, as a team, you can come up with very good plans on pistol rounds as well. We're going to take a look here at the first pistol round of a game that I did a video a while back on, which is NRG versus Giants here at Champs. And if you take a look at this pistol round, you can see the thought and the planning that has gone into it. First off, one of the most important things on a pistol round, of course, is choosing which guns you are going to buy. And I just want you to take a look at the guns that NRG for this round have chosen, right? So they've gone for 3 Sheriffs here, a Ghost on their Viper, and Ethan with a Frenzy. And now take a look at the map as well, right? So these 3 here, those are our 3 Sheriffs. Okay, and instead we've actually got Som here, just watching out towards mid, and Ethan watching out towards C long. Take a look at how this round actually plays out though, right? Because not only is this going to be a great example perhaps of a little bit of an anti-strat of how Cloud likes to play here down towards A long, but it's also going to be a great recognition of how to actually pick the right guns for the right situation, right? Because when Cloud does that, he's jumping in to 3 Sheriffs. Right, and this is where the details of these rounds kind of come in, because normally you would think out here towards A, your Viper and Killjoy would probably be swapped most of the time, right? Your Killjoy would be the one with a turret somewhere in mid or something, watching for any aggressive pushouts, and your Viper would be the one who's come in with the wall, because they can control the wall out here towards A. But because NRG wants some to be able to buy this poison orb for, later on in the round, it makes more sense to send the 3 Sheriffs here to go and get this kill on Cloud and how he likes to play down A long, and actually leave some in here instead, where he can still put up the wall and create that pressure like he did early on in the round for Cloud. But you can see that the detail and thought has gone into this round to the very details of who's buying what gun, and therefore, based on the gun that they've bought, where they are going in this default. And that level of detail and planning is something that I don't think we see maybe enough of in pistol rounds. And if I had to guess, teams probably aren't practicing and thinking enough about their pistol rounds, considering how important they are to the outcome of the game, right? Looking at the difference of winning 2 pistols versus not and your chance of winning a game, they should be rounds that you spend a significant amount of time practicing. But I have seen way too many of this round, okay? This is the kind of round that frustrates me to no end, because this pistol round defense on Ascent is so common, and yet this game is from tier 2, but I've seen it a lot in tier 1 as well. It's just the most recent example I can remember, where teams just walk out into multiple sheriffs. This is the most common Ascent pistol round defense, yet I see constantly throughout this year teams were just doing exactly what Ulf do here, which is just kind of like mindlessly swing into that angle and die, right? And you put yourself into a terrible position. And that is a tier 2 game, but I've seen multiple examples of that in tier 1 as well. And look, I am not a part of every single VCT team, so I do not know what the practice schedules and how these teams like to practice in general. But if I had to take a wild guess, and I have talked to Elevated, who was the coach of GE last year as well, if I had to take a wild guess, probably most teams are not spending enough time working on their pistol rounds, right? Because in my opinion, you should probably be running like full pistol scrims. You should probably be running like 24 rounds straight of pistols against other teams and practicing them. The reason for that is because not only, as we've seen, are pistol rounds very important to actually winning the game, which we all kind of already know, but they're also very unique, right? No other round is anything like a pistol round. There's no ults online, no one has a gun, there's limited utility, they are unique creations as well. So if you just play normal scrims all the time, well then you're only playing 2 pistol rounds each time, which is not enough considering how important they are to the actual outcome of the overall game. You should be spending significant time on pistol rounds and practicing them, because you can get better at the certain guns, like we saw with those certain player examples earlier on. You can have very good strats and have a definitive level of detail that will probably give you an advantage in a round like a pistol round, where there is, less things going on overall. And so this is not a, call out to any specific team about, them not doing enough on pistol rounds, because I don't know the practice schedules of these teams. Maybe they are doing full pistol scrims. Maybe they are, spending a significant amount of time on their pistols. But what I will say is that for certain teams down here, I'm sorry, Furia, but I'm going to have to call you out as well. But certainly for any of these teams down here, you can give yourself a significant advantage straight away if you are just better at pistol rounds, right? EDG won the most pistols. They weren't even that great in non-pistol win rate. You don't even have to be that great. If you're wondering who these teams are that were like okay, but won a lot of pistols but didn't make it champs, I don't know who all 4 of them are, but I definitely know that 2 of them are BBL and Talon, right? Who were 2 teams that very, very, very almost made champs as well. I can't remember who the other 2 are. But basically, spend more time on pistol rounds, because pistol rounds are very, very important, and you can practice them and probably get better at them.